Hi everybody, so we've had a bit of fun this time, haven't we? The DayZ 1.1 update. I've had some fun, I tell you. So, we all want to have custom XMLs, don't we, for DayZ. And you may well have had a go with my previous 1.1 ones, which used a different way, a different method of applying those XMLs, using the CFG Economy Core file to create some other files that appended and added to XMLs. However, after quite a lot of testing, I found that although doing that sometimes worked very, very well, often than not it didn't work consistently, and sometimes it didn't work at all. So what I found was that on PC it seemed to work. Well, it seemed to work basically. However, what I found was on a fresh install on a DayZ server, quite often on PlayStation or Xbox, it didn't work. On an existing install, it would work. So inconsistence was the key. So what I've done is I've taken most of the changes from those files and I've merged them back to the old way of doing it, which is basically creating these XML files which will give you the hunting, fishing, farming experience, which is, you know, full trucks with goodies in, full cars, coloured weapons with mags, everything spawns in pristine, that sort of stuff. So I'll put a link to my GitHub in the description below the video, and you know, if you know what you're doing, basically you hit on the code button, download the zip. The files you're interested in are CFG spawnable types, events.xml, messages.xml, and types.xml, and you just upload those on top of your existing files, restart the server, and then depending on how busy your server is, in other words, how long it stays active, unless you've adjusted that in the globals, the new stuff will start to spawn in, and the things like the trucks and the cars will start to replace the existing ones on the server. Of course, you could do a fresh install and they'll appear straight away. So in a minute I will show you how to do that if you're not quite sure, but let's have a look at what these files give you. Please read the readme in the GitHub, because it kind of just says, look, be careful with these. I've done some limited testing, but there might be problems. And the idea behind these files is that after the zombie apocalypse, before the zombie apocalypse, the residents of Chernarus were getting ready because they knew stuff was happening, so they collected together trucks with stuff in them. They had like vehicles with stuff in them, and that's why those vehicles are there. That's the story behind it. And then what these XMLs do is they give you more animals, lots of trucks with building stuff, Aiders with building stuff. The Olga has fishing rods and stuff and food in. The Gunter has a blaze hunting rifle with scope and ammo. The Sarka has farming stuff, so spade, packs of seeds, that sort of stuff. There's more helicopter crash sites. There's more bears. There's only 2 more bears, I think. There's more wolf packs, but not too many more. I've increased the dynamic event weapons, so the LAR or the FAL, the VSS, the new SFAL or ASFAL, the VSD SVT, included the mags. And also what I've done is I've removed a lot of items from the heli crashes as well, with the hope that if you find a helicopter crash, you should be able to find a decent weapon there rather than a ghillie suit. And I've put the ghillie suits as military items, so you should find ghillie suits and ghillie weapon covers and hoods and that sort of stuff scattered around the military bases over most of Chernarus. There's more nails, more duct tape, more sharpening stones, more axes, coloured and black axes, coloured and black variants of K74s, M4s, Mosins, that sort of stuff. Magazines spawn in full, basically. Guns should spawn in with mags if they take one. Guns should spawn in with scopes as well if they take one. Hunting rifles spawn in with scopes. Assault rifles and us SMGs don't. And there's the usual surprises. Actually, there's no books. It says books there, but I haven't put the books in. But there's swords, pumpkin helms, weed, alcohol, cigarettes, that sort of stuff. And the messages file should give you a 12-hour restart with a simple countdown. You'll have to see. That's one of the more difficult ones to check, because I'm never playing for that long. So that's what those XML files will give you. I've done some limited testing. It seems to be working. If I have to make adjustments, I will do. Now remember, these are just This is just a release candidate. It's not the final version. So be careful, and there may well be errors. I've done my best to validate the files and check them, but you never know, do you? So anyway, so how do you actually apply them? So go over to your server. This is Nitrado. So we go to the different servers we've got. Click on the web interface. You want to stop the server before you start doing stuff. You want to go to the file browser down here. DayZ PS missions. Now, if you're on a PC, you've got to dig down a bit further to get to the missions file. DayZ offline.chernarus plus. This is the mission file, and then you want to then upload to here the CFG spawnable type. So if you go down here, you'll see upload file, and obviously you would have already downloaded the file from my GitHub. You'd have extracted it. So you upload the CFG spawnable file, CFG spawnable types on top of that one. Then you go into the DB folder, hit upload, and you'll upload to there the events, the messages, and the types file. And hit upload. That will upload to there, and then you just restart your server. And those new things will start spawning in, and they'll start replacing the old stuff. And as I said before, what you can do is if you go into your globals, you can do this from the web browser. If you go to idle mode startup, what you can do is you could turn that on and set that to something like 600. Oh, no, you don't want to turn that on startup. Idle mode countdown, I do apologize. You could say that for 1, and you could change that to 600. So what that means is when servers leave, when players leave the server, it will still carry on spawning and despawning items rather than going to sleep, which is what they do if there's no value there. Well, they give it a few seconds, don't they? So what's that? 600 would be, well, that's 10 hours, isn't it? Which is quite a long time. So overnight, for example, when nobody's on your server, it will churn away for a bit, and that will replace the stuff. And there we go. So that is it. That's hopefully what pretty much should become my DayZ 1.11 hunting fishing Chernarus XMLs for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. If you found that the previous version wasn't working for you, now the beauty of doing it through the CFG Economy Core method was that it makes it incredibly easy to update it next time. Now, I will go over to the Bohemian Interactive bug reporting page, and I'll say, look, this does seem to be inconsistent, and there's not that much information online actually about using that method and how consistent it is, and whether I've made some errors in the code or something, I don't know. But what I do know is this, although it takes a little bit longer to do this with every update, because you've got to copy things, you've got to check them, where with the other method you just upload a few files, this seems to work much more consistently. So I would say if you're having trouble with the other method, then use this method. So what you'll want to do if you're using the other method, to get rid of the other files first, you'll want to go to your general settings, and you'll want to go down to here and reset mission XMLs to default. You want to save that, restart the server. That will put all the XMLs back to the default. It won't delete anything. Untick it when it's restarted, save it, then re-upload the XMLs from my GitHub, and then restart the server, and then everything should be hunky-dory. Anyway, there we go. What do you think? Hopefully that works a little bit better. Put your questions and comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you want to see more, subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.